Hey Switchheads, welcome back. My name's Kanan and welcome to my review of Gravifire, a gravity bending puzzle game. And before we get started, feel free to hit that link below to join our Discord and our many community streams that we do every week. And with that said, let's see if Gravifire can lift itself up to the wall of fame or get weighed down by gravity into the wall of shame. Or maybe somewhere in the middle. Gameplay. So whilst Gravifire does have a story of sorts, I'm kind of confused of actually what the story actually is by what they show. And so moving on. So you're tasked with moving these square blocks into areas designated on the actual board. And then they introduce gravity to the fray, and basically you can, depending on which side the gravity lets you pull it from, or to, depending on which direction you're going in, and sometimes it's in multiple directions and sometimes it's just in one. And basically you have to get one of these squares or multiple squares into those other square positions. And that's it. I hope it's explained quite well. This all seems relatively simple, but it's not as simple as it actually looks. And if you do something wrong and you need to reset, you can actually reset with the A button, and also pressing the X, you have a certain amount of solves, as in it just solves it for you. But once you've actually used one, you have to wait a certain amount of time until you can use another one. I believe it's 10 minutes between each. The game does step it up slightly the further in you go by adding extra things like 2 platforms instead of just one, but you're only stuck on the one, so you have to manipulate yours and the other platforms at the same time. And although I didn't necessarily like this game as soon as I started playing it, the further in I got, I did actually start to like it a little bit more. And I started to appreciate it for what it actually is, a nice, cheapish type puzzler with a slight difference to it. The controls seem to work perfectly fine. Never did I think, damn, I've, cocked up because of something the controls have done. It's always been, damn, I've made a mistake. And that reset button really does come in quite handy, because sometimes the slightest mistake, and you'll see it when you do it, and it's hit the reset button. Graphically, it's quite nice. It could do with a zoom in button. That really would be appreciated, or at least to me it would. As for some reason you're playing on a tiny screen or platform where it could be so much larger to fit the screen. I know they were probably going for cutesy, but you can have cutesy and close up together. What a wonderful world we live in. The graphics, I will say, for the nature of the game is quite basic anyway, so there isn't really much to comment on except they look okay and they do what you actually need them to do. Audio wise, there's an okay soundtrack to this, better in the menu screen though. And the game only has a few actual sounds to it anyway, so there's not much there, but what is there is okay, I suppose. The good. Some of the puzzles are actually quite good and challenging. There are 50 levels to this, so you'll get plenty of bang for your buck. And in a weird way, I really do actually like that title music. The bad. Some of the puzzles as you go through them are easier in further on in the game than they are at the beginning ones, which is weird. It's not balanced properly, or at least to me it's not. I really wish they had put a zoom mode in it, because I would have really liked a zoom mode, because I like to look at things close up, or at least the option to go, I want to look that close up, or I want to look this far away. It does get a bit samey after a while, and the attempts to spruce it up don't necessarily work 100%. The score. Well, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5, and it's a kind of average 3, in the middle 3 out of 5. I can see some people really enjoying this and getting a lot out of it, but for me it was okay, and that's about as far as it went. I had some fun, but ultimately I think after a while I would just not bother going back to it. But for the price, I think you can do far worse than this game. And as for an alternative, I'm going to suggest Mini Metro, and no, not the car, I mean the actual game. You're tasked with making a subway, and I don't mean the food. You will have commuters that use your lines and stations, and it's up to you to make sure everything runs smoothly and, more efficiently and make things bigger and better, I guess. It's also 4-player. I have owned it, I believe, a version of this on iOS, and it was quite pleasant to own. Nothing like this where you all get on the train and do weird things. Any comments you may have, leave them down in the comments. That's where they belong. And also consider joining our Discord. We gather several times a week, and the link's down below, and we make streaming magic. So if you want to join in, play some games, have some fun, feel free to come and take part, because life is better when we switch together.